The Demonic Virtue by Knial R. Piper II. Chapter 2 of Part 1. On the second rung of heaven, Adolpher tried to look up, but his own halo blinded him. Frustrated and feeling rejected for his lonely mutiny, he gritted his teeth. These feelings were punishment. Why was despair allowed in a place of perfection? He took a deep breath as he moved his focus to fleeing. He stood for a long moment waiting for the Creator to stop him. That moment never came. Adolpher closed his mighty wings and fell from the cloud. Locks of blonde hair waved over his neck and intertwined with the white feathers of his wings. He embraced the descent. Coolness engulfed him to his core. He pointed his feet and forced his hands to his sides. Cloud after cloud, his speed increased. Every white puffy mass and shimmering stream that lay in his way he pierced like a speeding bullet. Pleasure brought itself forth by way of excitement. His tension was released. The feeling of relief developed alongside the rush of escape that shot through his nerves and into his blood. Angelic rebellion was the greatest pleasure he had ever experienced. He smiled as his brows caved inward. His eyes forced themselves shut. A single feather ripped loose and floated away. Adolpher relaxed his head and gently opened his eyes. There was a distinct feeling around his skin. He felt a familiar coolness that brought a new kind of uncertainty. He felt eerily misplaced in the light from yonder. The clouds were growing dark, and the echoes of laughter were fading. The sound of crashing waterfalls grew near. He was uncertain of what experience would unfold before him next. This fear both enlightened and troubled him. Small beads of sweat collected on his golden white skin and raced to his toes. Finally, he pierced heaven's veil, through a ceiling of clouds hovering over a gigantic ocean. It smelled of dew in the early hours. The air was pleasantly chilled. He could now see the ceiling of darkness above him, penetrated by narrow beams of light. Below him, a vast ocean awaited, absorbing the waterfalls below. He flapped his wings to parachute his fall and inverted himself above the water's surface. The momentum suddenly stopped, but his presence released tides into the body of water. The sea itself was dark. The ocean was littered with metallic splotches of colored oily film. He dipped a toe into the ocean to immediately withdraw it. The water was sharp and freezing to his touch. Curiosity beset him as he lowered his head to the water. Hovering horizontally on the water's surface, he saw no reflection, only a deep metallic black. He raised himself once more and noticed a mist dancing slowly over the water. It thickened in the distance. He was drawn into the uncertain density. Adolpher followed toward whatever it was. The fog engulfed him. He felt strong, but lost in the haze, yet he continued on until the fog began to dissipate. Expecting to see more water as he emerged from the curtain of mist, he found only a tired shore. It was gentle tides that met in the long beach of sand, which stretched into the distant desert. He lowered his levitation and walked upon the grains of sand. The sand was cool and crept up between his toes. This was new. This was exciting. He knelt to press his palms into the sand. How wonderful this felt. How strange. He pulled his hands from the sand. In doing so, he witnessed what appeared to be a creature before him. Upon the shore, not far off, lay a withered angel. Adolpher approached the being. Standing over the sleeping angel, he noted how ill the angel looked. It shook subtly, and its shivers were received only as stale energy upon Adolpher. The poor creature was without feathers upon its wings. Only a dry, webbed black skin connected the wings' cartilage extensions. Further examination revealed his graying skin was flaking off into ash upon the beach. Adolpher knelt in the sand once more, looking down at the creature in the sand. He reached out a hand. His compassion brought him back to the thoughts of Knial. "Brother, my name is Adolpher. Are you okay?" His voice was calm as he consoled the thing on the beach. Before his hand reached out to touch the gray stranger, the shivering angel burst to life. He sprung up and back onto his behind. Addifer, being shocked, stood up quickly. The creature gasped for air, while digging his fingers into the sand. Both angels were frightened by one another. Addifer attempted once more to confront and console the stranger. Yet upon his approach, the angel scurried backwards as his feathers dragged through the sand. "What happened to you?" Addifer asked. A short moment passed, where no words cut the tension. After studying one another, the withered angel dashed toward the ocean. Just as his hands reached the water, Addifer managed to grasp the angel's ankle with a deep reflexive lunge. He wrapped his hand around the leathery skin and tightened his grip. The creature immediately turned toward him and revealed a layer of sharp teeth, red eyes, and an evil hiss. Out of fear, Addifer released his hand, and the stranger disappeared into the dark water. He gazed a moment at the ashes clinging to his palm. He dropped his hand to look at the shore where the sick angel submerged. A short while passed, and the angel never returned. Only ripples in the water remained. This has been The Demonic Virtue by Knial R. Piper II, Chapter 2 of Part 1. Stay tuned next week for Chapter 3 of Part 1, The Demonic Virtue by Knial R. Piper II.